Okay, we're live, but I'm going to wait just a second here because it always scrambles for a second. Before I welcome the guest, I want to quickly say hi to everybody that has showed up in the chat. Geez, my browser's going all over. Gary, Matt, Flex, Pedro, Ryan. Is anybody else in here? What's up, you guys? So I think you all know who I have with me. I have David from Para, who I have been working with for a long time, way pre-Para. And we've got some, I mean, you guys already might know about some of the things, but we've got some updates here to talk about today. And yeah, I know that David was lucky, or we were lucky enough to be able to pull this off even with David in LA. He's there for Curbivore, right?
Yep. We got lucky. It didn't rain today. I thought it was going to be miserable. So.
Did you get inside?
No, it's an outdoor. It was an outdoor conference, so that could have been real bad.
Oh, so you didn't even need the ticket or the like any kind of badge or whatever.
Yeah, that's lanyard. Light security, but like
yeah, I was just gonna say you could probably just grab Harry too and be like, "Yo, come on, man." But yeah, so David, it's been a while, man. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me back. And I'm, hey Gary, hey Matt, hey Mr. Flex, Pedro. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. So what? Let's. I'll run us down the bullet points, and maybe I'll just make a comment or something. Let you kind of roll with it. Then we can see where the conversation on each piece goes, and then we'll at the end we'll do some questions. You guys, we're gonna really cut this to an hour tonight. I know that you're all laughing because I never can make that happen, but we are. David is in LA, and he's got some things to do while he's there too for the business. So, okay, so Para today. So Para Stars. Well, you know what? Let's do Para Stars last. Hey, Mort, what's up? Hey, what's up, Faith? Hey, what's up, Bud Soda? What's up, B Mike? But yeah, let's do that one last. So, because that's going to be the good one, and I think people need to hear that too. Let's go to the flag offer feature. So, I like the flag offer feature a lot. I like that it has two sections. I like that it's restaurant, building, individual, right?
Yep, apartment, restaurant, individual. Yeah,
right. And so you can flag any one of those, and for whatever reason you don't like, and then you can also flag a customer for like even for no tip. You could do it. You want to explain that a little more?
Yeah, I think we've basically spent sort of the last couple months really trying to make our just core system and integration stronger. And I think Colette a month or two ago realized that we felt pretty good about what we had. So I think we went and surveyed sort of a large Facebook group that we have. And other than sort of, bringing trip transparency back, I think one of the most common things we'd heard was this flag offer feature. So I think sort of went to our engineering team and was glad to be able to put something together here. So what's nice is if you look at sort of our offer history feed, at the bottom of it is just a simple click here to flag offer. And there's sort of a flag the apartment, flag the restaurant, flag the individual. And when something's flagged, basically next time you get a ping from that platform, it'll just remind you sort of at the bottom being like, hey, you did this person, you didn't like this before because of X. Right. I'll admit we have a couple of pre-populated prompts for apartment, restaurant, and individual. And, I sort of took a look at them yesterday and they could use some work. So actually, that's one thing I have for sort of the crew here, or also just anyone listening, is I would want to hear from others their top reasons, because we need to make those pre-populated features better.
What do you mean the selections after the initial restaurant, business, individual?
Yeah, so you can sort of click and say, hey, I want to flag this offer. But the reasons for some of them will be updated. They, could be stronger. Let me put it that way.
Right. Like if I hit building, what are the options right now?
Yeah. So here, let me pull it up. So your flag building is no parking access, issue accessing building, difficulty with security. So those seem fair. Restaurant was order was never prepared. Individual is rude. Issue with order quality. I think that the key one missing there should be I had to wait for the food for a long time. Right.
Yeah.
I think that's sort of a missing one. And for individual, it's individual did not tip, individual was rude, individual did not answer the door. The cool thing is for all of these, there's sort of you can enter your own note and we'll use that. But, especially for the restaurant one, I think it could use some work.
Right. But what about the restaurant? What about other?
Yeah, so I think
or would that just be too much of a pain getting all those comments coming through for other?
So we do have that. We don't have an. So we have this sort of something else. So you can enter. We do have another box. You can enter what you want to.
Right. Oh, but I mean, so is there is other just a box, or is other a box and then text of
It's a
why?
box that you enter your text into, and then we will bring that into why you didn't like it next time.
Okay, so Ryan had a question here of where can we send suggestions? So first of all, you could email David always at can I? Yeah, I'm gonna do it anyway. I don't care. You can email David at withpara.com. But also, I think this is a perfect example of where can you email a suggestion? Just put it into the app, right? I mean, just go ahead and put other and write down what you think. That's probably the best way.
Yep. Actually, you're spot on there. It's like if a bunch of people start saying the same thing, we'll make that the top one, right?
Right. So, because my thought is too, like, what if it's the same building and a lot of people are clicking other, and you're like, what is up with this building?
Yeah.
You're going to want one of them to tell you the reason I'm clicking other is because it has this weird whatever, and it'll make sense. So you can go, okay, let's just.
Yeah, but Ryan, I'd love to hear from you. David at withpara.com. I know a lot of people sort of Facebook message me. Sometimes it gets lost just because there's just a wave of those coming in all the time, but I'm pretty good at email.
David, do you have YouTube open? Can you type into the comments so that I can give you a handle so you can put any links or your email or whatever?
Yes,
because it's been a while since we've done this. By the way, David's the most times guest on my podcast. For those of you that know about the audio podcast, he's been on more times than anybody.
It's been amazing to see sort of a success of the podcast. It's been great.
Yeah, thank you.
There we go. Thank you, Gary. Yeah, I entered sort of my email right there.
Okay, but did you even type in there? Because I would.
I did. Okay. I did. Yeah.
I didn't see it. Maybe it just didn't come up.
Yeah, I think everyone else has a handle. That's why I'm the non-blue handle. That's okay, Gary.
Well, that's why I'm trying. But you're not Ryan. It's still not up. Right. That's why I was. Yeah, that's why I was trying to do it. Was because I mean, we just haven't seen you on this channel. But okay, you and I have always done it on the podcast. But so the next one is the earnings feature.
Yep.
DoorDash and Grubhub complete. And I found this interesting, but I mean, I understand because it's the same platform, but then Uber Eats coming soon and Uber.
Correct. It's the same platform, so they're tied together there.
Okay, so it's going to pull even your Uber data too if you're doing Uber rideshare.
It will, yes.
What about Corner Shop?
Right now, it's old Uber stuff. I think that's where we'd love people's help.
Okay.
You know, we're in the process of testing some of this, and I'm sure there's going to be edge cases we don't catch. There's going to be some weird stuff in how it's combined. So I think that's why just having people try it is going to be good. But I think we're super excited to bring this back. I'd noticed sort of, you know, we used to have sort of the earnings powered by Argyle. I think we realized that, you know, there were some things that we wanted to make better about the experience. So we decided to sort of build this functionality for ourselves. And it took us a little bit to get this well. But I think, you know, while earnings was down, we had sort of something on the top that said, hey, earnings is under maintenance. You know, earnings is under maintenance. We'll be right back. You know, please let us know. And I'll say outside of flag offer feature, have people ask for earnings even more, right? So even when it was down, we just heard from a ton of people saying, hey, can you bring this back? Hey, can you bring this back? So to me, at least, given that was like the first thing you and I had ever worked on, actually, was an automatic earnings tracker. Not the first thing in sort of this set of driver tools. Yes. In terms of sort of outside of the CARES Act stuff.
Well, actually, the third thing, because the second thing was, well, I guess that was more you, but I was doing other things, but you doing the testing facilities too.
Yes.
For COVID in the very beginning, but okay. Yeah. So right on. I mean, finally that's there.
Yeah. So excited to get that back. And I think, you know, what we hope is, you know, there's still some kinks. We're still working through it, but the hope is that it pulls the data faster and it's just a simpler place to track it, basically.
Right. Well, I mean, and that was the idea from the beginning, everything all at once. So I'm going to put up something from, there was a question from Mort to, will the customer flag feature be available for Uber Eats?
Mort, so we don't have Uber and Uber Eats on the system yet, but you can expect that we will at some point in the not too distant future. So the answer is yes. So right now it works for Grubhub, it works for DoorDash, and when we have Uber, it will work for Uber. And what's nice is it will reference across all three of them. So if you flag something on Uber Eats, it will also remind you about that for the DoorDash ping from the same apartment.
And Mort, I don't know if you know, if David, if you know Mort, or he's been on the scene here for a little bit. He knows a lot of us. He's a really good guy. Mort, the other thing you can do, because these are the type of people who would take the time out to do this, is email David. Again, before there is the feature to say there's an Uber Eats issue, email him about it ahead of time. So again, here's something, by the way, Flex, bring back Flex. What's up, Flex? So he was saying, just type a single letter or number or something so we can give you a handle here. Just something into the. Say something.
Yeah, I got it here.
Say something to the people.
I promise that I'm typing. Hello. I've typed a couple hellos, but it doesn't seem to be showing up.
So, there we go. Here's one from Middleton. If I get you that.
Yep. Hey Gary. No. So the current the new version of earnings that we have here is powered sort of by us.
Okay.
I think on our end, sort of, Argyle was great. It allowed a lot of other people to build these earnings trackers. But I think on our end, it was two things. One, the speed upon which the earnings was coming through wasn't fast enough. And people were saying, hey, and not until I ended Dash did I know what the number was. And I wanted to know it faster. And I think the other thing, too, is we had a lot of users who'd come back, sort of looking through the details. This didn't work. That didn't work. And sort of frankly, using somebody else's system, we were not able to tell people, to really dig in and tell someone, sorry, this is why it didn't work and we will fix it, basically.
There's his reply to you.
Yeah. But it even allowed a lot of other people to build some of these earnings trackers. So it's good that it sort of helped others build it, but we just wanted to make the best experience possible.
I was going to say, at the same time, I don't want to bag on Argyle because
I'm a fan of.
Yeah, because when you and I were starting with all this other stuff, man, Argyle was the only place we had to go.
Yep, Argyle made people realize that you could do stuff like this.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah. Gary would say no. Gary, actually, I take that back. Gary made people realize that you could do stuff like this. I take that back.
Right. No. I mean, but for like you and I at the time, like, how do we, how, especially at that time, like, like you had a friend over there, it was like how, it was very helpful. Did it be, are you now realizing it was an expense that isn't still needed? Yes. But I don't know. I think that Argyle, I just don't want to diss on the Argyle crew because I think they've been great to everybody they work with, to be honest. Yep. I hear it even from other people that I have on the podcast who use them, like Solo and some others that are like, no, Argyle's good, so for whatever reason, I don't know, to each his own.
Yep. I think for us,
but I understand why to move it in-house is I guess what I'm saying, but there was a time when we couldn't have.
Oh yes. So for me, it's like, no hate for them at all. For us, it's just at the end of the day, making as good as an experience as possible.
Exactly.
That's what matters.
So ParaWorks. So I've explained to many of these people in here ParaWorks and like what it was doing with the grocery stores and how you could. I mean, I was shocked when I was first working with Ellie when you were in China.
Yeah.
On like when she was sending me the documents and then I was going in that little window, and I thought that little window was the only stores there was, but it was one of those like Airtable types where you'd get into the window and scroll, and then the scroll thing ticker became so small. I was like, wait, how far does this go? And it just went on and on and on. Like every Safeway was in there, from like from the Bay Area, but I even feel like someone out Walnut Creek, Sacramento way, even that far.
Oh yeah, you're right. And I think a lot has happened since then, right? So I think really why ParaWorks, right? So I think we've heard from a lot of people saying, hey, I would be open to learning about other types of work opportunities, be that to replace some of the food delivery work, be that to stack on top of existing work. Sometimes dashing between lunch and dinner rush might not be the best use of your time, right? So from our end, I think we wanted to go out there and find good opportunities for drivers, because more good opportunities helps you earn more. But I think we also didn't want to just say, hey, we're going to let a whole bunch of random companies post advertising on the app to drivers. That's not the goal, right? So I think from our end, we come to it with a set of principles, which is the companies have to treat drivers well. There has to be transparency, and the pay has to be better, or at least compelling compared to what somebody's already doing. So with that in mind, we've started onboarding a couple different opportunities, primarily in San Francisco and LA right now. So we have some sort of like lunch catering opportunities. We have sort of a deliver from an e-commerce warehouse opportunity. We have sort of what you mentioned earlier, which is this sort of 10 minutes in a safe way, what we call merchandising opportunity. Yes. And what you see is like each of these fills a sort of different niche, but with the ultimate goal of hopefully helping to make more money. So the merchandising one you mentioned, we're starting to see some of this beautiful stuff. We had a driver show up on a Grubhub order, and people know Grubhub orders notoriously suck. For the restaurant just started making the food when the driver showed up, right? So you have to wait 15, 20 minutes for the food, which is a pain in the ass. But the driver was able to find an opportunity in the Safeway in the same strip mall that took 10 minutes, made $12 in those 10 minutes, showed up, picked up the Grubhub food, super happy. Right.
Same thing with like an Instacart, man. Like if you're gonna, if you're getting paid $11 by Instacart, I've told this example to people, and you could be going to that store. There was like a $10 to $12 pair of merchandising offer that went with that, which meant the 5 minutes you did the merchandising was going to pay you more than the damn Grubhub order with some lame tip.
Yep.
I mean, it seemed like such a win. It's such a win-win, I mean, if you're going to be there and you're pissed about this Instacart pay, I know you still can be mad at Instacart, but at least you can be like, breathe a little better. Like, okay, I'm going to get a couple extra bucks here. So
yeah, I think the other one I found interesting was sort of, this sort of e-commerce delivery one. They're paying, depending on the city, $25 to $30 an hour to do these sort of deliveries from a warehouse. It's sort of like direct to consumer brands, basically. But sort of similar thing, what we found useful is, somebody's driving on DoorDash. It's the end of lunch rush. What you can basically highlight is say, hey, somebody's willing to pay you $25 or $30 an hour for the next 3 hours. This is probably better than delivering. I'm not saying it's better than delivering during lunch and dinner, right?
Right.
That moment of time, it probably might make sense. So at the end of the day, I think the whole point of Para Works is, not everyone is good for everybody. Not every opportunity is good for everyone at every time. But if they are high quality, for some people, it will help them make more dollars, which is what we hope to do. Yeah.
And I know it's just a weird example, and there's nothing to be taken here because it's not a done deal, but can we at least, because I thought it was an interesting feature, can we at least talk about what you and I were talking about with the gas stations?
Yes. We're talking to a company.
Because this is pretty interesting, you guys. It's just another feature, just kind of like the merchandising that I think you'll see the win-win.
They help do sort of audits on a whole bunch of gas stations nationally. And the whole idea is, if you're already at the gas station, if you take a picture of what the price is, make sure it matches the pump, go and order a couple of bucks worth of stuff, which they reimburse, you'll make, $8 to $12, depending on the state, for an extra couple minutes at the gas station, basically. And I think really Para Works, I think what I say here is like, it's not about putting a ton of opportunities in front of people. It's like how you do it. You want to make it as easy as possible, right? So it's hard to say, hey, I'm at the gas station, let me open another app to scan it. But if we can tell you, hey, if you're already here, do you want to do it? That could be interesting, right? So at the end of the day, it's like, how can we make stacking opportunities easy so you can make more money? So what you're going to see is right now we're primarily in San Francisco and Los Angeles, which is why a lot of drivers haven't seen these work opportunities. But I think over the next couple of weeks here, we are expanding to a couple other cities. And that really is sort of one of our large initiatives through the end of this year. So more to come.
Yeah. Did we address this, the Gary question?
Thanks, Gary. Yes. Basically, we get the rate from the partner beforehand, and we put, yes, is the answer.
Basically, yes. So the first one that I should have hit on, that is now the last one I'm going to hit on here, is the stars feature, which is the tip prediction. And I know a lot of people out there never liked the tip predictor from the beginning. Just at that same time when I was like dealing with a lot of people, they're like, it doesn't work, it's not even close. Well, of course things take time to get down dialed, but this isn't even just kind of better. This is like night and this is like 20-fold.
Yeah. I think.
Do you want to talk on that? Because I have a couple talking points, but I would rather leave it to you on this one.
Sure. Yeah, I think we spent a lot of time really focused on the trips that matter the most, right? So what are the trips with a large hidden tip, right? Predicting, an extra 20 cents or 50 cents, that's nice, or a dollar or two, but like really where drivers make more money is when you're able to, have that $10 trip that's suddenly a $25 trip, right? So we spent a lot of effort really honing on, can we be as accurate as possible for those super large hidden tips? And I think we've gotten very good at this recently. Take a look in the Facebook group if you're not in it. To me, that always makes me super happy when I see people basically post like, hey, here was the thing, here's what Para said, and they are eerily close to what it is. And that makes me happy because a lot of work has gone in under the scenes to make sure that that is the case.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So what can people expect from how can it best be worded? What could people expect from the stars?
So if you see the stars,
because here's my thing. Like here, yep. I guess this is why I'm rephrasing the question, because what if somebody gets a star and it's right, and they're like, oh my God, it's working again, and everything's working, and it's going to work every time, and la 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 la, and then all of a sudden they get one, doesn't have one, or it's not even close, or it is close, but it's not the same. They're like, it's not working. What do you say to those people to make them understand where we're at?
Yeah. So if there's not a star, we're still running our model, but we are less confident in the star, right? So, you should take that into account, and we still think it's helpful. We have between sort of the flag apartment feature, and I think we also have this one now where we can say if it's an apartment or not, right? So there's still it's still helpful to make a decision. Good question, Gary. So the stars, I don't have the latest number, but it's between 97 to 100%. And the recall on that is very high also. So it's, take a look, try it out. If you find a star which is not right, let me know, but I would be shocked if it isn't. So
right, that's what I was going to say. I don't think it's like when the prediction model first came out and people even in the group going, this doesn't work, this doesn't. And that is one other thing I wanted to hit on. How, you said check out the group. Are people able to get back in? A lot of the people I know on YouTube or Twitter or whatever aren't even on Facebook, but those who are they able to get into the group again now?
Yeah, the group has still been alive. There's a lot.
Well, I know it has, and it's very active. I just know it's been very closed door and very careful about who's in there, because it blew up so far that just like that chat in the app, it had to be.
The answer is yes. I think I just, there's only, the group is almost 20,000 people, so just
exactly.
I couldn't deal with it every day, so I think we have a couple people from the group that are sort of admins, but the answer is yes. Please rejoin. If there's a problem, let me know. So.
Yeah, or even just if you get because I'm like, even I'm part of the team, and even Ellie flagged me once. And I just messaged her and I was like, really? And she was like, I think she had to go. She checked with David. She's like, him? And you're like, yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's one of the other small sub features we rolled out, right? Was this apartment or not? Which I think also is sort of like a sneakily helpful one, which I like at least. Yeah.
So if anybody has any questions, I know that UDM has a thing going, but we do have 16 people in here. So if anybody has any questions, even Gary, if you have some other ones, post them. David, what else is going on while we give people a few minutes, see what they have to say? Like anything else that we should know, or what are you doing down at Curbivore? You know, are you trying to make an impact with a certain thing? I mean, I know some things, but that's because you and I just talked for a couple hours yesterday or the day before.
Yeah, I'm doing good. I think let's think what's on my mind. I'm trying to lose some weight. I've gained some weight basically in the last couple of months. I just try to get back in shape. It's been sort of a slog.
I mean, I think your video kind of said it well. It said, you know, hey, you know, we've been quietly doing things in the background for the past few months.
Yep.
And I think that's a really good way to say it, because it's a lot of people that I was talking to were like, no, they're just gone. I'm like, I'm not asking you.
Yeah.
Like, I actually talk to them. I know them and do stuff with them. And you know, like I was like, I'm not asking you. I'm telling you that things are going on. And people just, you know how people are. I mean, I was even explaining to Flex the other day that we had a you know, people who loved Para, who when the tip transparency went down, they kind of threw in the towel, and then some even went so far as to like go the other way and get negative on it after it was like changing their life. You know, it's just weird to see people and how they act in a situation. Like, I get it, your money changed, but that doesn't just mean start pointing the finger at the closest person.
Yeah, and I get that, right? You know, I understand that people were upset, but I think that's the one thing, you know, Steve, is like, this is something that, you know, matters very deeply to me, right? And that's the one thing I can say is like, I'm not going to stop doing this stuff. So I'm not. And the problem is, you know, I wish, it pained me a lot, right? It really pained me because I wanted to be able to release more faster. And I go to the team and be like, what can we do to continue helping people faster? But sometimes good things take a little bit of time. As much as I don't like that. So
yeah. Yeah, that's right. But I mean, that's about it. That's what we wanted to update you guys on. You know, we only ran 26 minutes. You know, I know, and yeah, the Middleton and Flex thing. Hey Peaches, I'm giving you a moderator. I had been waiting for you to show back up one of these times. But yeah, so you know, I know I did want to address the fact of the UDM thing. So yeah, Flex, there was no context there about UDM or Para and how anybody feels. I was just pointing out because Gary had told me that UDM's live tonight. I never am live on Friday night with like a piece like this. You guys know that I go live on Thursday. If I'm on something on Friday, it's usually one of your channels doing something, not mine. So this is just an announcement being made. So about a lot of things that just changed with Parrot. So if for any reason you got rid of the app, or you want to get it back, you know, it's a good time to get back on board. However, I'll say that the same thing I've always said: if you don't feel comfortable with it, don't use it.
Agreed with that, right?
You know, 100%. You know, I don't. That's always the way I've felt, is that, you know, if you just, because otherwise you're just going to get mad if anything little happens and it's not even related to Para. You're gonna get mad at Para.
I think different people have different risks too. And also, like, you know, hey, I understand. I heard from a lot of people basically saying, hey, this is my full-time work and I just can't risk it. That is totally fair.
Yeah. Right? And in fact, you know, like I felt like sometimes people were trying to get me to talk them into it. Like, well, I don't know. I don't feel that good about it. And I was like, well, then don't do it. And they're like, no. I'm like, seriously, don't do it. You know,
I think from mine, like, I believe that this is the right of all drivers, right? I go.
Yeah, that's what that's how you and I met almost, you know, that gig workers have a lot more rights. This is stupid.
For me, it's really sort of like, I just wish that we didn't have to do this. This should be transparent all the time. The platform should do it. So that's why we're going to release this, because it's people's rights, but it's also your right to do what you want to, right? And if you don't feel comfortable, you know, I don't want to, you know, we're not forcing anybody to use it. One thing I saw was interesting. I'd love your thoughts on this, actually, Steve, as I was taking an Uber from the airport here, and Uber now has this new feature where if you accept 10 rides in a row, it will let you know where the trip is going.
And if you don't, you go into Uber prison.
Yes.
So, yes, if you don't, you go into Uber prison, because they then you have to blindly take trips.
Yep.
It's like, okay, now we're, you know how we were showing you this much of the transparency and we're supposed to be showing you all of it. We're going to show you this much. You better take them all. Oh, you didn't? Now you get none. Take the ride. I mean,
And it seemed like it was
that's
run.
not. I don't think that's still in every market though. When they launched radar and upfront pricing model in some,
Yeah.
Because the upfront pricing model is great. I'll work with that all day. I don't like that they took 5 cents off the market per mile and they added 1 to 2 cents per minute by giving you upfront pricing. Because here's my thing: if you're doing upfront pricing, I don't need the mile and minute anymore, morons.
Yeah.
If you're going to say, hey, here's the trip, it's this far, you're picking up here, you're dropping off here, it's this much money. I don't need mile and minute because you're not going to pay me by the mile and minute. You're paying me that number.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It was just a way. I think it was a way of letting you know, like, well, you're going to make less. Like, well, how do you know? If you're going to give me upfront pricing, I just won't take. I know in my city how far to go, what that is, how much time of day, what it's going to make me.
Yeah. So I was just laughing because Peach's comment. If you could highlight that.
Oh my God, David looks like my little.
I'm sorry.
Maybe it is.
Your little cousin. I'm sorry that your little cousin is looking at me. Yeah.
Maybe he is. There was a question from Gary, but here's one.
Yeah, so good question, Gary. So right now it's a couple different types. So right now we have what I call sort of like lunch catering orders. So what's nice with those is you get the ping the day before and the pricing is up front and you know what time you have to show up and where you need to bring it to. And generally it's, call it $30 to $40 for between 30 minutes to an hour. So those are pretty good and you can pick them the day before. We have sort of another set of work so far. That's what I call sort of delivering from a warehouse or a sort of delivering from an e-commerce warehouse. Similar things as you show up, they'll put the stuff in your car. You just have to drop it off. Those paid, depending on the market, between 25 to 30 bucks an hour. And that's sort of more of like an hour block. So you can sort of schedule that ahead of time. And the third arm is sort of more of this sort of stackable opportunities. So that's sort of the merchandising opportunity we mentioned, and sort of hopefully this gas opportunity that Stephen mentioned.
So when you look at those blocks where you're like, when you're talking about like not during lunch rush and stuff, are you approaching some of the merchandising companies as, hey, it's best if we could do it from 2 to 4 when these drivers aren't in their hot zones?
Yeah. So for merchandising, it's the nice thing with merchandising, you can do it as long as the supermarket is open. They have like a multi-day window. So that's why those are good for stacking. So it's like, hey, it's not sort of super pressing. For the sort of e-commerce delivery warehouse, yes, I think we've had some partners come to us and say, hey, could we do these hours during dinner rush? And my answer is no, right? It's like, because people are probably going to make more during that. I think over time, is if it's within reason, we'll still show it, because I think in transparency, people should be able to make their decisions, right? But I think there's a bottom to that, right? So I think the way we put it is, hey, with the rate you're offering right now in the markets you want to do it, I don't think people should take this, right? So I think, yes, that is taken into account. Great question, Gary.
Gary's known for great questions, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. I know I've probably said that like 6 times already in like 20 minutes. But as of right now, no, I will admit that we have had to deal with sort of 1 or 2 situations as always, but that's something that I would love a lot of input on. I think the short answer is the opportunities are through the partner, right? So some of those partners have their own deactivation policies, but sort of similarly to just the vein of everything we do, that's something we look through and understand. And how I put it is every opportunity that we've offered, either myself or Jimmy has signed up and done. So, yeah. We wouldn't be like, when people say I wouldn't put something in front of you that I wouldn't myself, is like, we've actually done all of these ourselves. So hey, thanks, Gary. Yeah. I never knew Steve would need help filling the hour. So yeah.
Yeah, no,
Jimmy Jackie Jones. I love that.
Yeah. So Yeah, what's up, Jim Jones? What's up, Drone? Oh, Drone, you've been here, huh? Yeah. So what's up, Beacon? What's up, Nick? So yeah, I don't know. Gary, if you had a bunch of questions and you wanted to hop on for 10 minutes before we bounce off, you can. Otherwise, if you have a question, pop it on. We'll kind of go for another few minutes, but it was more just to get the message out. Gary did put something up above that I didn't hit on. That was so he's saying this is kind of what my market is now too, with the upfront pricing. It's that damn radar thing that kills you.
Huh.
I don't know if you're familiar with the radar, but radars where they put a like a trip up real quick, and then multiple people can view it, almost like the round robin system. Like you're able to actually get in there, look at it, and go, yeah, I don't want it. But people are just grabbing them, and they end up being like the worst offers, the worst. But they're meant to, you know how it's trickery on the platform. I mean, obviously you do, but it's meant to just like, you better grab that quick, and it's always crap.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Tick, 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 sort of a thing. Like,
right, you know me. Yeah. So, well, what I would say is that you should shoot an email to David, because you guys, I know you guys already have been in touch, but I'm sure it's been a while. You guys should reach out.
Oh yeah, and on my end, sort of, I'm not the technical genius, so.
Right, but he knows one.
Yeah.
And it's not Jimmy.
Or is it? Or is it? No.
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 I mean, no, Jimmy's awesome, but it's not Jimmy.
Yeah.
We actually, oddly, I don't even know how much of it you watched, and this is what I will say for now, is that I don't know how much of it you watched, but when we did have Jimmy on that roundtable, near the end, I know he was getting a little bit tired too. He was just kind of sitting in that chair dozing off, and a little bit, and we got to the data safety part, and all of us knew the answers. And I was like, so Jimmy, what, because this is kind of what we did it about. And it was like, how is your data safe? He's like, what? And then Gary stepped in and just answered it.
Thank you.
Gary's like, okay. He's like,
Yeah.
Gary was like, have you read your TOS? Because Gary was reading it at the time. Yeah. He's like, let me explain it.
He's like, throw Jimmy the lifeline. Throw Jimmy the lifeline. So I think dual beacon of lightning. Driver stay super lit.
That's Nick. Yep. He's in Boston, or not Boston. He's in Buffalo.
So I think is there a difference in cash register and lotto machines now compared to what I used to see at the airport gas station? Yeah, I think that's actually the difference between what you're paying at the pump and what's up on the sign. I've noticed that also. I was also shocked. You said $4.19, which is horrendous. In San Francisco, the other day it was $5.70, which was like shocking, right?
What is it in LA right now?
I don't know.
Oh, you're not. You don't care.
I didn't drive down.
Yeah.
So
let me see. I like the pair guys. Good. We all like the pair guys.
We like you too, Gary.
So I don't know if nobody else has any other questions. That's the big information. So it's kind of, if you were using pair and you loved it, jump back on. If you've kind of been putting it to the side, I know a lot of people have still been using it, but if you're not using it as much, or you've been concerned, give it a shot again. See what the new features turn up for you. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'll try out these new things. My hope is that it helps people make better decisions between sort of the apartment, the flagging, uncovering the big tips. And the main thing, as always, I think my email's down in the chat. Love it, please let me know. If you hate it, I want to hear it even more. Right. So please just let me know. So. Yeah,
I forgot Jim's in the Bay. You're in Oakland, right? He's in the Bay Area too. I don't know if he does. I don't think you do anything. Do you do pair at all, Jim? I don't even know if you do, actually.
That's actually helpful, though. The cash price, that would make sense.
Yeah. Also, I was going to ask you if some of them aren't digital, and they're just lazy people that are like, dude, I'm not going to get up and change the kiosk. It changes too quick.
Yeah. Every day they make
they're like up there and they get all the numbers, and they're like, it just went up 10 cents. Like, dude.
I think Crispy Nuggets had a question about when did these new features come out. So the flag offer feature came out probably a day or two ago. So that's a brand spanking new. The new stars feature has been out, call it probably over the last month, but in the last week or two, we've ramped up showing that more as our confidence has increased. So, those stars roughly show up, call it right around 10 to 15% of the time, and growing. So try that out if you haven't. Same thing, earnings is in the last month. So all of this is, and apartments in the last month. So most of it is quite new.
Jim Jones, even if you don't use Para, or if you do, where you are, you should absolutely download Para and try it out, as long as you have no qualms with it or whatever, because you could actually I don't know, I would think it would benefit you huge in that area, because there's also the Para Works and merchandise, there's all kinds of things, because that's where David is, the Bay Area too, so that's where a lot of the beta stuff does go on. So I don't know, to you I would recommend to email David if you're not working that platform, because you are kind of in that area. So,
hey, if you're ever in San Francisco, I'd like to buy you coffee.
Well, isn't Fremont's not far?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yep. Oh no, it's not far. It's not far at all.
Fremont's pretty close.
I say that's like Bay Area, not far.
Oh, he says, yeah.
Yeah.
When I get a car again, a rickshaw won't work.
I think Mort. So I think good question there. Right now, it's only available to that user. I mean, it'd be cool if you had some sort of like a, Steve's list of places he hates, and people can follow that. But for now, it's on.
Yeah, to be honest though, I can already see downsides of that. I could see people like going, "This is a great one. I'm going to flag it bad." And then when it comes through to them, it still comes through to them. Yeah. It just says you flagged them bad before. But as long as they can remember and go, no, that's a good one, they can still take it. So they could actually just screw it up for other people. So it should, I would think it should just be a personal thing.
What's interesting is I've had a bunch of people tell me that they would also like to be able to flag things well. So I liked the customer. The tip was good. So that's something we are noodling on.
And I think Mort, that's what we just said. This is probably just the delay in the chat.
Oh yeah, no, don't worry. People won't see your notes.
Yeah. Sorry if you already did this question. I just joined. If you did, I'll go back to the video. What's the flagging for?
Yeah, Christina. So it's if you just didn't like something about it. So you can flag the apartment, you can flag the restaurant, you can flag the individual. There's some pre-populated reasons, and you can also add your own. But the idea is next time, if you get the ping on sort of that card we have, it will just tell you why you previously didn't like it. So I think it's just to, I've, friends with a couple of people who have sort of like a notebook where they write down some of this. So it's just a way to like make that easier, basically.
Right. And yes, you can go back and listen, because we did fully go through that. But here's Flex too. And that's a good question. Can you positive flag?
Right now, no, but we've heard a lot from people even in the last 2 days about that. So that is something we are looking at it. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that would be a great thing to be able to go, dude, I always want these.
Yeah, or just like nice, and I'll deliver to him, right? Yeah, I think having the positive spin on it's good too.
Yeah, so let's see what more it says.
But Uber becomes viable as a platform again. Yeah.
Okay, Driven Dad, Tony, first of all, yes, we will be going to Pete's for breakfast. We can even do that next week, man. I'm down. Tony lives just south of me, so but he is putting Para back on. There you go. Good job. Everybody should. If you've taken it down, put it back up, give it a try. It's as easy to take it off the second time as it was the first if you took it off. So, but put it back on, because I think that everybody's gonna be a little surprised at all the better, the new features and the improvements in some of the features that weren't, I don't want to make it sound bad at all, that weren't quite performing as anybody hoped, even the team,
especially the team. So,
yeah. So
Jim Jones, I will admit that I have done that once, that I have been one of those people once many years ago. So it was sort of like 2 a.m. I was tired. It was a rental car. I was just not thinking about it, and I just drove off. And the good thing is I had one of those like sort of clips, so it didn't yank completely off. It just clipped, and probably like gas spilled out for a minute, but that was it. But
yeah.
yeah.
I actually had it happen to me once back in the late 90s. I was road tripping with a friend and he left it in, and the thing was, and there was like a cut. The guy was having to cut it off.
Yeah.
In the, or whatever they do. I mean, there wasn't those like little spring systems that know, oh crap, the top fell off. So it's just,
for me, there was like not a single person at the gas station. So I just left sort of a note being like, hey, I'm sorry, I did this. Here's my number. I don't know. There's nobody here. So like, if you see this on the video tomorrow, like give me a call. I'll pay the repair fee, right? Like, my bad.
Let's see. Wait. I scheduled with Jimmy for a Monday call for the beta user for the beta Uber. Oh, okay.
Gary, I think so. Yes, I will check with Jimmy, but we have very small beta running to test some of the Uber stuff.
Or why don't you I mean, you can correct me, but because it's you, Gary, why don't you just email both of them, even though you already emailed David or Jimmy, just email both and just say, hey, I was chatting with David on the live stream and just wanted to make sure we're all in the, because I don't know. I mean, everybody's so busy that, I don't know. I would just think it would be, I think it'd be, that he should be connecting with you here too. I don't know.
Like,
just my opinion.
Let me know, Gary. The answer is yes. It's a very small beta, but yes. I think Jimmy's also tied up in that he moved to LA on Monday. So this is his fourth day here. So yeah.
And you're in a hotel.
I am I'm in the Marriott right here. So
right, you're in a hotel, not Jimmy's house.
Yeah.
But Jimmy, he was in the office.
Yes. Yeah.
So Jimmy lived in the Para office.
Yes.
Then now he's down in LA.
Yeah.
And David's in LA in a nice hotel. And Jimmy's probably not in the nicest place. I'm just guessing because I know LA well. It's very expensive. And
yes.
He probably has a lot of roommates. And
I think he's got a place by himself, but I think he's
really?
like, I think he's like 45 minutes. I think he's like 45 minutes east would be I think.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I guess that's where it becomes affordable. I don't know. And not even affordable still. It's like California affordable, but
yeah.
I don't know how you guys do it, man. It's expensive out here. I mean, way expensive. We're getting like Seattle's way up there. We're getting near Seattle, and I don't know how you guys do it. Even with all the droves of people leaving California, it's like the cost keeps going up. I don't have any clue how you guys do it.
Yeah. Yeah, Jim Jones, that's funny. I saw the break the pump pay $50, and I was like, that's a steal. Like everywhere else I've seen is a couple hundreds. I think you're right. Yeah.
So the driven dad, Tony, he uses he drives a Tesla for but so he rents it from another party here in Denver, not from the programs from the Uber Lyft. And so it's a costly thing, man.
Yeah.
We were chatting the other day, and he pays, I mean, he covers it and he makes his money and whatnot and all this. And so more power to him, but it's an expensive thing to go that route. However, he does have, I know in that payment is full coverage insurance for all of the apps, everything. You're golden.
I think what I've heard talking to people who've been doing sort of rideshare and delivery with Teslas is your gas cost goes from like, 30, 40, $50 a day to like 5 to 10 to 50. Like the electricity cost is a lot lower, but it's hard to pull those sort of like marathon sessions with it, basically, because eventually you got to charge.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Well, if nobody has any more questions that don't pop up now, I'm gonna end this and have a minute with David before he has to go do his LA stuff and go stalk Harry or whatever.
But I'm glad. Thanks for having me, Steve. This has been great.
No. I mean, as you can see, like this is me from all the audio podcast days. Yep. I mean, and beyond. You knew when I was coming on here because but you and I go back to even just before I started the audio podcast. So it's Yeah, this is all these people I'm familiar with. So everybody in here is all good people, and they're all the people to put a good word out too, as long as they believe. So, you know, it's
And look, before there was just a podcast, and now you got the full influencer setup. So
yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's
yeah.
yeah, it's blown up. So, hey, Gary, you too, my man. I gotta feed my son here after I wrap this up. And then I am gonna start just not a long one, but a little live stream to support Flex, and only if Flex can get on though. So Flex, if you can get on, I'll send you the stream link. If you can get on, great. If you can't, I'll just shut it down in protest. Because this being kicked off crap, I don't know if he'll be able to log in through even StreamYard, but we'll see. We'll see. As like a guest, I don't know. Yeah, he says he'll try. Okay. So give me a little bit, Flex. Probably about 45 minutes, and I'll put something up and I'll send you the link. But everybody, thank you for showing up. I'm sure a lot more people will catch this after, it's Friday night, they're working or they're watching UDM or whatever, and they'll catch it later. So there's a lot of information in here. So go back and listen to it if you caught it in the middle. Otherwise, thank you, David, for joining us as always. Yeah, let's I'm sure that David and I will do another piece, and we'll bring it back up here, and as the next big thing to update, we'll do another one, so there we go.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks guys, and we will see you on, well, maybe later tonight. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Peace.